Alright, so I just wanted to check in and see how your mock exams went, so why don't you let me know in the comments how they went, and just to give you a message of kind of positivity really. The important message is like whatever you find out you need to do because of those mock exam results is that you do it now. So whether you're really pleased or whether you're a bit disappointed by those results, then you're still going to have areas that are weaker and areas that are stronger. Make sure you're working on those weaker areas and that you're keeping those strong areas and improving them as well. So let me know how you're going and let me know what areas you think you need to improve on, and maybe I'll make them priorities in my videos in the near future. Okay, there's still time. Remember, people do regularly make 1, 2 or even 3 grades of progress between the kind of December, January mock exam period and the kind of March into Easter mock exam period. You can do this. You just need to identify those areas and you need to work on them, and you need to waste not a minute. You need to do it now. Actually, I've just been through my own Year 11 groups last year versus this year. So I've looked at the position of my current Year 11 groups, where they are, and looked at where my last year's Year 11 were, and they're actually at exactly the same point. Well, actually, in fact, this year's Year 11 did a tiny little bit better than last year's Year 11 at this same time last year. And that's good news for this current Year 11 because those Year 11s last year went on to do really well in their GCSEs. So last year's year group at this time had an average of a grade 5, and in the real thing they got an average of a grade 6. That equates to them being about 1.5 grades behind their target now on average, to only half a grade behind their target at the end of the year. That equated to a progress rate of plus 0.7, which means 7 out of 10 of them did a grade better than across the whole country. So how did they do that? Well, they just got really committed. And I remember this time last year going through the analysis of those mock exam papers with them and really looking in depth at how well they'd done and what areas they needed to work on. They became so committed and they found those areas they were weak on and they did it straight away. They worked on it consistently from now until the real things. So really in this first set of mock exams, it's kind of meant to be that you don't do all that well. That is generally what happens. It's sometimes referred to as the fail mock. That's because it's kind of meant to be a little bit of a wake-up call. It's the time when you get really committed and you realise you have to take action to make things work. So the first thing I want you to think about is there anything obvious that was a complete disaster, that went disastrously wrong? Did you run out of time? Did you realise that you completely couldn't use your calculator? Were you completely thrown by the structure of the exam paper? Were there things on there you weren't expecting? Or could you not access some of the questions because you hadn't memorised some key points? You need to sort these issues out now. You need to do it now. If one of those disasters or another disaster happened, then make sure you talk to your teacher now. Don't just be satisfied with knowing the answers to those questions. Look at the skills that you are weaker on and take steps now to actually improve those. I had an interesting idea from one of my wife's colleagues. My wife's a GP. So they use the URAG system. So you'll be used to RAG rating everything, red, amber, green. So you're used to RAG rating things loads in schools. It's going through all of the different criteria and working out what's your weakest area, what's your best areas. But they use the URAG system, which means it puts a U in front of the red, and that stands for urgent. It's used for triaging patients. You know, what's urgent, what needs to happen absolutely right this second now. And I suggest you think about that. What are the gaps in your knowledge and understanding that you need to sort out right now? What's the U in URAG? The urgent things you need to learn. And guys, people often ask me, when is the time to start revising? Well, if you haven't started already, you really should have done for that first set of mocks, but fine, whatever time you're watching this video, now is the time to start your revision. So stick with me here on Gorilla Physics, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you've got notifications on so that you see things throughout the rest of the year. We'll be taking time to really talk about where you should be at and how you can make sure you do your very best in May and June and get those amazing results in August to really feel proud of yourself and get on to your next step. Alright, thanks for watching.